Right. We are recording.
This open meeting of the Triton Regional School Committee Facility Subcommittee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's Executive Order March 12, 2020, in the response to the COVID pandemic and enacted into law by Section 20, Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, and the provisions extended through March 31st, 2025 by the fiscal 2023 supplemental budget signed by Governor Healy on March 29th, 2023. These provisions suspend the requirement for the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of the public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. I hereby call to order this meeting of the Triton Regional School Committee Facility Subcommittee on Tuesday, October 15th at 9:33 a.m. I am Matthew Landers, the chair of the Facility Subcommittee. I'd like to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Caitlin?
I'm here and I can hear you.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Brian Forget, Superintendent.
Here and I can hear you.
Jonathan Skonecki.
Here and I can hear you.
Thank you. Brian
Sorry.
Perry.
Yep, I'm here and I can hear you.
Patrick Kelly, High School Principal.
I'm here and I can hear you.
Alan McRae, Middle School Principal.
I'm here and I can hear you.
And then I have, the town officials. Who do I have today? Let's see. Sorry.
I was going to say, I'm not sure if you can see on the screen. It's Christine.
Here and I can
Mike.
hear you.
Alicia.
Here and I can hear you.
Mike.
I'm here and I can hear you.
Neil.
I'm here and I can hear you.
And Kevin from Habib.
I'm here and I can hear you.
And Julia O'Grady from Habib.
I think you're muted, Julia.
She's muted, but we heard her say it.
Okay.
We all watched it.
I'm here.
I think
I
that's
can
it.
hear you. Thank you.
Perfect. For this meeting, the Triton School Committee is convening remotely via Zoom using the information provided on the district's website identifying how the public may join. If you are personally attending by video conference using your device camera, please be aware that others may be able to see you. Committee members and administrators, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. All supporting material that has been provided to the members of the body are available on the district's website with the agenda posting, unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. I don't think we have anyone from the public, do we?
I was muted. Sorry, I don't see anyone. Nope, no one's there.
Okay, perfect. So then, sorry, the first agenda item is approving the minutes. Caitlin, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the October 1st meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 1st meeting.
Second, roll call vote. Caitlin?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. And moving on to our next, developing building plans, option 7. If Brian, you want to take it from here? Or
Yeah, I'll just jump in quick just to the email that I sent to you, and then I had BCC'd you all and then forgot and then replied to tell you that I had attached the PDF to the board docs agenda. That's actually linked right there in the chat on the Zoom meeting here, so that you can see that. I'm not going to go into a detailed introduction. This is as you can see, option 7 that we're looking at today, and Kevin will share his screen, so you don't have to look at the PDF, but wanted to make sure you had access to that. Again, the goal for today was, based on our previous months of discussions, come to agreement around a concept, again, high level, big block concept, that we could have cost out by Kevin and Julia and folks at Habib, to see if a non-MSBA path would be a viable one, and viable meaning affordable. So what we're looking at, just to again, another introduction here for those who may not have seen other meetings, the assumption is, if you look at floor, the main floor, the upper floor, the lower floor, all of the spaces that aren't colored, those would still be refreshed. That's largely 99% of the classroom spaces, 95% of the classroom spaces, we haven't talked about because we're assuming that the building would be rehabbed. Systems, mechanicals, windows, roof and doors, building envelope, fit and finish in classrooms, technology to bring them into the 21st century. We're just not renovating them, i.e. moving walls in this assumption here. So what we've focused on is flow and security, bringing everything to one access point, and then a flow between the middle school and the high school, sharing a space and what can be accomplished there. Obviously, we're going to talk I mean, when we get to the point whether we're doing this on our own or with MSBA, far more details. I mean, we will be annoyed with the level of detail we'll have to go into room by room, detail by detail. That's not this exercise. This is about seeing if we have a viable option. So with that, I will turn it back over to Kevin and Julia, and you take us through option 7, V2.
Okay. So you should see it up on the screen now.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so much of this should look familiar. The bulk of option 7 is really a combination of 2 of the previous options that we looked at previously. I think it was number 3 and number 5, plus some additional elements that have been added. So this is the only option that we'll be looking at today. So we can start at the main level of the building. And as we talked about last time that we met, we had proposed a central lobby area here in front of the existing auditorium with a security vestibule, which would become the main point of entry for the whole school. And adjacent to that, there would be a small addition that would house the administrative offices for the middle school and the high school. So this would be a combined area that would add some additional space to the existing footprint, as does the lobby. The district administration offices would remain in their existing location with some additional room for expansion that was made possible by relocating the high school administration offices here to our addition. And across the corridor, we've brought the high school media center up from the ground floor level to the main level. The nurse has been relocated to that area there next to the media center. The administrative offices that were in this location here at the middle school have been repurposed as the middle school media center, which would give it the amount of square footage that it needs. We found that it was undersized when we did our space needs analysis. And I'll just point out, just as a refresher, that these elements here are have a couple of purposes. One is to accommodate the change in level between this part of the building and the addition. There's almost a 7-foot difference here between these two levels. So we have some stairs and an elevator that will provide accessible routes through the lobby to the gymnasium area and beyond. It also permits access to both sides of the gymnasium without having to go all the way up here and go through the middle school gym, which should make things a little bit easier for the middle school students who are coming through. They'll be able to come through the lobby and go directly into the gymnasium. And then up in this area, this is should look new. The 18 to 22 program and the TLC program have been relocated down here where the existing music room and locker room are located currently. Art has been moved over here to the spaces that have been vacated by moving those programs. And then as before, this purple line indicates the boundary of public access during public events, off hours, evenings, when there may be events in the gymnasium, the auditorium, or in a multi-purpose space, assembly space that we have now down on the ground floor level. So I'm just going to go down there. And I will point out before I do that, that we're showing a stair here. This is a new stair that's located right in the corner of where the high school administration office is located currently. And this would provide direct access through the lobby right to the stair that will go downstairs for use of the multi-purpose room. So if we go downstairs to the ground level, the space that was made available by the media center is now our new multi-purpose room, which we can use as assembly space. And as we've seen before, we propose to locate the media labs, a broadcast studio adjacent to there. And then the maker space or technology labs can be located in this area here. And these are all the rooms that were associated with the media center. We did displace the art rooms on the main level. And so this space here has been taken for art, which I believe is immediately adjacent to one of the shops, metalworking shops that would be used. And now I'm going to jump up to the second floor. Now, this is something that I don't think that we've looked at or talked about before, but in some discussions, this area here could potentially become a second story to the addition here where the administrative offices would be located. So this footprint matches, it becomes a second story and could be accessed through the end of the existing corridor here. And this space could be used for the guidance offices. So there's a grouping of offices and business offices down here in this addition. And I think it serves another purpose. It would allow us to keep the roof levels at the same height, which is going to help us with roofing and flashing issues. Keeping in mind that I'll go back to the main level. The lobby area here, we would want to see that as a double height space or a 2-story high space, just based on the proportions of the room. It really needs to have high ceilings. So the lobby area, the addition, and the roof of the existing middle school building here would all be at the same level. Now, by moving some of the administrative offices down to this end, we've freed up a couple of spaces here that could now be used as classroom space. So I
Just
may
to
have
jump in there, Kevin,
yeah,
that on
some of the
that, on this,
details. So go ahead, Brian.
yeah, so
please.
that's currently the library on the right,
Mhm.
and the left is actually we call it the central office annex because we have 5 people from our district office that don't fit into our space, so they use a classroom upstairs. And then on the main floor, it would be the guidance office. That is, scrolling
Here.
there's an updated the PDF that Julia sent has an updated note.
Yeah, the guidance is right across from what he indicated as the media center, the left-hand side of it, that big space
Okay.
across.
Number 2 on it in the back.
So do you want to show that? Okay. Yeah, so my apologies. Julia's going to get that up on her screen. And she's
So
going to,
needless to say, it's just, those are spaces that are being relocated either into that second floor where we're bringing, like we have high school and middle school admin on the first floor, bringing high school student supports, if you will, guidance and from both the middle school and high school to be side by side as well as bringing everyone into that district admin. So those are captured spaces because of that. So I will say too, while we're, I think Julie's going to share her
Yeah,
screen.
I'll share it.
There's a balance here, and we've talked about this, but just as a reminder, we're adding square footage here, which doesn't, we could squarely say this would not be a possibility with the MSBA, right? We have more square footage than our enrollments would suggest we need right now. We're trying to find some efficiencies here and would love to be able to do it within the existing footprint. That is just a little more challenging when you're dealing with an older building. So yeah, so that's.
I think can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. What we're showing that's a little bit different is that we were able to capture this classroom on the main floor because that had been an administrative space. And then on the second floor, we had just called this out as middle school and high school guidance and student support. That's the only difference. Very, very minor.
Yep. So I think that's the major changes. Is that?
yeah,
Yep.
That is.
that's it. Yeah.
That's version 7.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess from the group, thoughts on this? Again, this is looking to accomplish, as we said at the outset here, efficiencies and security without doing too much blowing up of the footprint, because obviously blowing up of the footprint is money. So enclosing an existing open area as the lobby, I'm not saying it's cheap, but more efficient than having to demolish space and rebuild. Again, I think that addition for the high school and middle school combined admin, first floor, second floor guidance student supports, it isn't ideal in that there's other existing space within the building. There's just no way to do that cost effectively. I know we started with the idea of getting rid of the cafeteria and moving that into the kind of the general larger area or more accessible area, but that just proved to be too costly. So thoughts on this as a high level block concept to cost out?
So Kevin, as far as the lobby, are you ripping down the art rooms and building a new lobby completely, or are you building it from that wall out?
So in this view, where you see the word lobby, you see that dashed line just below it? That's the face of the existing building. So the art rooms and the nurse's office would be demolished in their entirety. And then we would add on to the front of it. And then we would also propose going vertical and increasing the height of that space as well.
I misspoke. I was thinking that the lobby was
So that
just
lobby, that whole lobby is
space.
a new addition, or are you just?
Yes, it would be new, and we could potentially save the concrete slab on grade, but you could consider it to be a new space.
Okay. And do you know the square footage roughly of that?
No, good question. I think that's going to be part of our next steps, is to see how much area that captures and what it might cost to build it.
And the addition upstairs, I scaled it off. It looks like it's 4,383, so 4,383 square feet. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
You're talking the upstairs where guidance would be, the combined?
Yes. I'm just measuring the lobby now if someone else wants to
Here,
go.
let me,
Yep.
I get 15,732.
For the lobby?
Yes. Well, the lobby and the offices. The admin and the middle school and high school
Combined.
offices, and then yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, these two new classrooms here, I believe the one on the right's the art room, that's that entire space. I don't think there's any room in between.
Which floor, Al?
Third floor. Just, yeah, that's all the art room, I believe.
So that's
I mean,
the
I'm sorry,
library side.
yeah, library, I'm sorry.
I think the art room is the one closer on the bottom. That's
Yeah.
yeah,
Correct. I'm sorry, the library is that entire space.
Okay.
I believe though. There's no room between the annex and the library, I guess.
okay. I wasn't sure that it was almost like it was a double classroom. It wasn't, this plan didn't show it accurately, but either way, we gain classroom space there,
Right.
usable space.
Do we think that space that's missing in the middle there, is that part of the library or the central office annex?
I
Wasn't
I think
Library.
that we're off by a room.
No, because
No?
I think the design's off because that goes right against the bathrooms. So I think it's the middle uncolored square belongs to the right square, and that combined space is the library. Because it's larger than a traditional classroom.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's on our plans that we had provided, that's just inaccurate.
That might not be quite
Yeah.
right. Okay.
That might have been an initial design and then maybe an as-built that became a larger space.
I think on the space plans, we had shown it only as the space on the right there. Okay.
let me clarify. So I did understand that this was the media center for the middle school. Are you saying that might not be correct?
It is, but it includes the uncolored block to its left.
Okay.
There's actually not a wall.
Oh, okay.
Correct. So that wall
So-
doesn't exist. Yeah.
Okay. And this whole area is the
Library media.
current media.
So moving that downstairs to where the office admin suite is, I think it is larger, certainly than it exists now, but it's not as dramatically larger.
Yes. In that particular building, there was the first addition. There were other two.
So I don't know if other people have thoughts. On the concept.
What would happen to the current high school student support guidance area?
So that becomes, so the library is moving upstairs.
So it would eat part of that, it would eat
Correct.
part of that? Okay.
Yeah. And then the the high school nurse, which currently exists in that strip right along by the auditorium with the nurse and the two art rooms, that gets captured, the nurse gets captured there. Yep. So the other question is, there is the middle school nurse that's over on the main floor separate. I think it probably makes sense at this point to have a nurse's office kind of in the general area with the high school, and then a separate nurse's office closer to students rather than having it be, joined up next to the high school nurse. efficiency wise, that makes sense. I think providing service wise, I don't know that that does. So that's not even coded here because it's not changing. So I guess my question is, so if we're going to consider a path without the MSBA, either by choice or because the MSBA again rejects us, things like the combined high school and middle school admin suite and the improved security, are those important enough that we would be looking at adding square footage, even though we know the building as a whole, we don't necessarily need the added square footage, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think it's that balance of, if we're going to do a building project aside from the MSBA, it has to at least be worth the investment. There is going to be no cheap solution, right? We know that just the cost of bringing this building to 2025, all the mechanicals, building envelope and all the systems is going to be a lot of money. So is it worth spending a little more to also make sure that we're not just giving the exact same building with updates, but also improving things that we know are a concern?
So you keep saying that the building's too big. Isn't a lot of the space in the hallways though that we really can't do anything with if we keep the building?
So I think, yeah, there's a lot of, again, just MSBA formula. We probably have 90, again, this is Brian's estimates, not Habib. We're about the size of Pentucket. They were certified around 200,000. We've got 286,000. So rough numbers, we got an extra 80 to 90,000 square feet. Yes, that's all over the place. We have 2 gyms. That's part of the square footage. We have, I mean, that's not typical. That's a significant value. So there are certainly things that add to our square footage that we wouldn't want to lose. But there absolutely is square footage that it would all be used well, right? I mean, I think Pine Grove is a good example of that. They wanted to certify us at 67,000, 63,000, and the building's 91,000. And that space is used beautifully with extended learning areas, and right, it's the creative use of that space. So it's not that we have extra space here. That's not it's that per their standards we do. So it's how then do we use that, and is that important? So I'll make the statement, I believe it is, right? I think it's important that if we're going to propose a project, whether, I mean, if it's with the MSBA, we have to study everything. But if it's a non-MSBA project, I don't feel good going to the taxpayers. It's going to be a challenge to get a project passed. I think it's worth moving forward with a project that doesn't just update the building, but also improves the overall aesthetic and layout and security and efficiency of the building. I think that's a much easier sell than whatever the price tag is, just to say we've got new mechanicals and windows, roofs and doors and new paint and things like that.
Brian, I know we're not here yet because but I think when we're adding square footage, and I agree, the other thing to look at is how it benefits the students and the staff. So if we're going to add the square footage, there should be a kind of a direct correlation to how there's a benefit add to our staff and students that improves their experience at Triton.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Yeah. And certainly this is right. If this is in this scenario, the square footage we gain is both by splitting the high school media in half and bringing it upstairs, and we gain all kinds of new access, by giving that middle school space back for the central office annex and bringing the administration separate. It puts much more instructional space that gives us something to work with aside from the existing, all those uncolored classrooms that we haven't touched because we've assumed in this high level scenario that we're not renovating those or modifying those, I should say. But that's a good point, Caitlin, that if that is if this 7 is what we're going to cost out, then the sell is, yes, it's admin space that we're adding because of efficiencies and bringing that into one location and at the main entrance. But the result of where those spaces exist now is more usable academic space for students.
Brian, my argument for building out that high school, middle school admin space in the lobby is also hugely about school safety. Having the main entrance of the building pointed at the parking lot so that there's a singular point of entry. Having people not have the ability when they enter the building to go left or right and avoid and bypass the main office. Being able to bring outdoor classrooms back inside the building and use the outside space differently. Like I think there's a huge element of school safety that goes into this design as well that I think is valuable to the public, and that given the current state of affairs with school safety is going to be front and center on people's minds.
Well said. I will see too.
I could add,
Go ahead, Mike.
I agree with Patrick on that. So I'm just thinking of positives. Positives, we're increasing security. Something else, we're increasing, I like to see the elevator with the high school and the middle school that's helping more ADA compliance. I like the lobby. I know we're adding square footage, but with a lobby like that, with security, we're also helping with mental health. So when people want to go into our school, right now it's like a dungeon when you go into it. So I think that's, a positive. And we also are addressing some of the roof line issues in that area that we have problems with. So I think, we have 4 positives with that administration area and lobby. And it's also I like the second floor with their guidance, because I think we need to do a better job with guidance at Triton. So I think we are addressing a lot of things that we could sell to the people.
Thanks, Mike. Just to note, when we were doing some refining, part of originally in one of the other versions, to get to the district admin office, you came through the lobby and then went to the right of the auditorium down the hallway where we currently come in. This design brings the access to the district admin office right off of the main lobby. So there's the blue toilet that's added, there's the stairwell, and then that is an entrance right off of the lobby into the district office. We had talked about the wall with the security vestibule, the wall against the vestibule and the whole wall into the lobby being glass from, it's showing high school, middle school admin, whatever that corner is, so that there's full view of the full lobby. And rather than seeing people walk in across the lobby and go down the hall to the district admin office, they can see people come in and come into the middle school, high school office, or go straight into the district admin office. And if they don't, they can get after those people if they say they were going there and didn't. So, and it puts a bathroom right there in the lobby as well, again, for security. Someone's coming in, say, I just need to use the bathroom, then I'm going to the district office. They can see them use the bathroom, then go to the district office and not wander off into the school.
I have a question.
Sure.
What's the, next to the high school admin office, between that and the new stairs, there's a narrow space in the lobby? What is that for?
To the right of the high school admin,
Yep.
Yeah.
that's a
That-
hallway. So that would
That's a
go over.
corridor that would
Oh.
extend from the middle school directly to the lobby.
So why is it got a pink line around it? Is that gonna be secure?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could pull that line up to line up with the high school administrative offices. To lock that area down.
Those can, to your point, Alicia, those can all be refined at
Yeah.
any door point. Like even with the district admin, I was thinking the district admin doesn't need, oh, that's an elevator there. I take that back. I was thinking that it doesn't need to go all the way down the right side of the district admin, but that little bump out in the district admin is an elevator, so it does.
That was the intent,
Yeah,
was
yep,
for use
that
of
makes
the
sense.
elevator.
I think the more positive points we can pull out of it, I agree with Mike. It's gonna be important.
And I also would add, Brian, I think we are addressing some of the issues that the late nineties, when they did the update, they didn't address.
Mhm.
And I think also we should, I remember it, that update was very much money driven too.
Mhm.
So everyone wanted to cut. But here we are, 20 something, almost 30 years later. Where are we at? Spending more
Yeah.
money. So I think we also need to address that let's not make the same mistake twice.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think in the relocation, the big thing is, like Kevin was saying, I think Mike, you mentioned it, bringing that high school, middle school admin and the lobby up to 2 stories to match the middle school 2-story is, less roof changes. So those types of things happen in this addition. That second piece of that will be when we get to talking about all the, and again, that's just a number at this point, windows, roofs, doors, not saving anything from whether it was 1960s or the 1990s. I think everything needs to be refreshed so that it's a brand new building with a 50-year look forward. So those will be maybe tough discussions when someone says, well, some of those windows or doors are only 25 years old. Well, yes, but in 20 years, they're 45 years old. And we don't want to be doing this again in 20 years like we did last time. We want it all brand new, a one-time solution, and might be a tougher sell, but it's the right sell for the towns and not having to come back and address this. And things like, the committee has been very dedicated, for lack of a better term, and committed to funding a stabilization line. So 2 years in a row, it's now $150,000 a year stabilization account. So obviously that would go towards this renovation, whether it's design or feasibility for the MSBA. But looking forward, that fund will continue to grow and we'll have the resources so that we can better maintain the investment rather than not having any of the resources available to do some of the preventative maintenance that would have extended the life of this current building. An expensive preventative maintenance, I should say. So are folks good with this as right, again, so the next step is high level costing. So is this something that we think as a big block design, again, we're not getting down, I don't think to hundreds of thousands, right? We're getting to nearest million, 10 million, 15 million. The goal is to get a sense, a high level sense of what the cost would be just to renovate the spaces that need to be updated, systems, mechanicals, as well as these changes. Is this a good big block concept to work with?
For me, it is. I mean, we obviously will have to refine some things depending on the cost, but yeah, I think it's good from my perspective.
Okay.
Does it fit the needs of the high school and the middle school principals? Are they happy with it?
I am.
And I
I
know
think it makes a lot of sense.
Al had to jump into a parent meeting at 10 and he'll be right back. And I can speak for Al too, right? I think if you were to talk to anyone, Patrick, Al, John, Brian, me, right, internally, we could design a much more efficient and effective building if we were building a brand new building, right? This is an idea to say, okay, we're not partnering with the MSBA and we're not studying any of that. We're looking to see what can we do cost effectively here with the existing building and not, waste space that can effectively be renovated. And I think this accomplishes that. The big ticket items we keep talking about are security and efficiency. And I think there's a lot of just that lobby alone, like the way it connects the middle school over to the gyms and things like that. There's a lot of efficiencies that this plan, this big block design accomplishes. And for me, I've been saying this all along, the security and that main access and safety wise is a major addition.
It also moves everything into a central hub right in the front,
Yeah.
centered around that lobby,
Yeah.
but makes it much more seamless to have the school function as a unified building.
Yeah, the one thing from that original meeting, the one thing it doesn't check the box of is getting the cafeteria close from a security standpoint, so that we have everything that we generally use with the public available. But I think this creatively addresses that by putting that stairway just to the right of the lobby up against the district admin space and having that secure hallway that brings you down into the back of the building and renovating the existing cafeteria. So I think that it accomplishes that, not in the way we would have loved, but in a cost-effective way.
I agree with you on that, Brian, but we also can increase security with outdoor structures for that cafeteria too. That would probably be way cheaper than moving that cafeteria.
Exactly. Yes. Yep.
I mean, you could put fencing in, you could put landscape in, there's all kinds of security measures that you could put in place to protect that cafeteria. That'd be way less costly than moving it.
Yep. Sure.
Brian, what was the outcome of that, the outbuilding? What were you gonna do with that? Just use it for like games and stuff?
So the last discussion, it's not shown here as any modification at this point. It's an existing space, and we talked about it being updated for the general use that it is now. It's a
Yeah.
classroom in one end, the TV media lab on the other end, an outdoor PE on one stroke through the middle, and then the back is the bathrooms. So we talked about using team rooms, updating the bathrooms, and having a team room like we have in the stadium building. One team could go, for a football game on Thanksgiving, one team could go to that team room. The other one tends to go into the cafeteria. So it's a further distance. Having just a basic team room, which is a very simple cinder block room with benches and maybe some lockers if we wanted to. So I think it's a non-expensive renovation of that space.
But the goal was to bring the learning classrooms out of there into the main building, right?
Correct. Brings the two. We've freed up enough space that there would be a place to put those two classrooms inside.
And I'm sorry if I missed this. When you said increasing the square footage?
Yep.
How so? Because are we going up from 286,000 to how much?
So on the screen right now, the lobby is technically new square footage enclosed. Or that's not true. The dotted line is existing. Above that is existing 2 art rooms and the nurses space. So that strip below the dotted line that's blue is new square footage, as well as the high school admin and middle school admin. Those spaces don't exist. Those are being built onto that end, what is currently the end of the middle school, and that's a 2-story addition. So did anyone do the math? I think someone was doing.
Yeah, it's that area is probably 20 to 21,000 square feet, including the second story. And then the high school media room is technically new square footage also because it's new floor area. And that's about 7,300 square feet.
Okay.
But we're bringing in the 2 classrooms outside, so how much square footage is that?
Yeah, they're probably maybe 1,000 a piece at the most, probably more like 800 or 900 a piece. Yeah, so this is where, when you're studying with the MSBA, districts often land on it's more cost effective to build a new building than it is to renovate an existing space, because the MSBA says, well, we won't partner with that because it doesn't fit the square footage that we've certified you for. Yeah, so it can get to be a game with the MSBA about how much is reimbursable versus how much is being done because it's the right choice. So I think this is an example of this. there's great efficiencies that are in improvements that have been made for security and efficiency, and the educational program, bringing those classrooms in from the outbuilding, right? We talked about lots of different benefits, but it does technically add square footage that likely wouldn't be reimbursed square footage through the MSBA unless we were taking away some square footage somewhere else.
Very good.
I agree with Mike. I like the 4 big takeaways that we would need to sell to the communities. I think, you know, the security of the building is number 1 for me.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, so just to clarify next steps. So the idea was to have a big block plan that would give us, right, a high level cost. Before we would ever go to the community, we would design, right? We would decide to move forward because we could say, as a concept, here's what we're thinking, and we think this could be affordable. And yes, that would be something we would have to sell. Here are the big major wins of doing this. But the real work would then be we would have to bid out the design of this and move right into that phase, which would be a lot more communication and selling. So we would have a lot more refined design to the part where we said, okay, community, here's the plan and design, and here's the number. We're a long way from that. All right, so I think I'm hearing people are good with this as a big block design. So then we'll take this, work with Kevin and Julia on the next steps needed to cost things out, and then go from there.
Yeah, I think that's the best approach. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
So Kevin, timing wise, so we're at, what's today? Today's the
Today's the
15th. So is it, I don't imagine we're looking at those numbers in the month of October. Are we into November?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Well, what is the desired end date? I guess where we have a number that, you know, we think that we can use. Is it end of the year?
So our goal again is that when we learn from the MSBA what our fate is with them, whether we're accepted or rejected, we want to be ready to move forward with an alternative. So this is what an alternative would be.
Mhm.
So, right, I'd get that call from Diane Sullivan late November, early December.
Yep.
The school committee would want to be able to act on that if we had to vote in time, because you can't do anything official until the MSBA has their vote. Maybe at the December meeting, potentially the January meeting, take a vote to move forward with whatever the option is there.
Okay.
If the vote is to partner with the MSBA, there's a couple months to accept that. So that would probably, I mean, likely it'd be a January vote of the school committee. I'd love to have a chance to bring it back to this group to kind of talk through things.
Sure.
So is it mid-November?
Yeah, I
a
think
month?
I think we might want to make a couple passes at this. So I was thinking, let's see, 1, 2. I think we could have something to talk about by the week of November 11th. Which gives us 4 weeks.
I can either do Friday or Thursday on that week.
I can't do Friday that week.
I can do
Thursday.
either day.
Okay,
Thursday works for me.
How about you, Caitlin? Any of those days work?
I can make Thursday work. Friday's more open, but either one.
anybody that can't join on Thursday, the 14th?
So we have a full leadership team that morning,
Okay,
30 to call it 10:30, 11-ish. Could we do early afternoon on Thursday?
we can.
Did you say you can?
Yes, we can.
All right, others, would Thursday like
That
call it 1 o'clock?
Works for me.
Yep, that
Works
works
for
for
me.
me.
I can do that.
for me.
Okay,
Okay,
Thursday, I will send a new I will send a new invitation Thursday, November 14th, which shockingly is only a month away.
Is this to talk to the town or just amongst this
No.
group?
Oh yeah, this is this group.
Okay,
This is this group to at that point, I'm assuming that we'd be looking at
we should be
numbers.
discussing some of the budget numbers that we
Yeah.
developed.
Yep. All
Okay,
right. So does that work?
Works for me.
Okay.
works here.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. Matt.
Great.
Can I get a motion to
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
second, Caitlin?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you very much, everyone.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.